Guys, this is pretty nuts. So after an interesting year last year at WWDC 2024 that had, shall we just say, mixed reviews, where Apple unveiled AI, or their version of AI, Apple Intelligence, where some features either just haven't come to fruition, or some Apple developers have actually come out and said the features didn't even exist, they were made up on stage. Well, in 2025, Apple are singing a pretty different song. This year, it's all about one phrase: liquid glass. That's right, this year Apple are unveiling a whole host of software changes across all of their devices. That is iOS, macOS, iPad OS, whatever that's called, and how all of these devices integrate intuitively into your life. So these changes are so significant that Apple are actually redoing their versioning numbers completely. Starting from this year, every Apple software version will be reset to 26. So similar to car model years, which I'm quite familiar with, having reviewed cars on our other channel, TechSauce, the software version number will now correlate to the model year of that software, which actually makes it a lot easier to memorize. So now we're not gonna have iOS 19 or 20, we're gonna have iOS 26. So what are these liquid glass changes? Well, Apple have basically reskinned a lot of the icons and the UI within their iOS and macOS to have more light responsive and fluid animations that are supposed to integrate with the real world a bit better. It is in some ways inspired by the Vision OS, which we saw unveiled last year as well. But it's not just on the surface, because these changes run deep and it will actually affect how you interact with your iPhone or Apple device in the future. So today, on this day one of WWDC, Apple's annual developer conference, I thought I would take you through some of the key highlights and updates that they are making that will affect you in coming months. Let's get straight into it. So let's start with probably one of the most impactful updates, which is going to be the new version of iOS, iOS 26. So on top of that liquid glass update that I mentioned previously, where it will update your dock, your lock screen, your menus, how you interact with submenus, there are also some key updates that Apple will be introducing to some of their key apps, such as Safari, FaceTime, messaging, and most importantly, the phone app. So you're gonna wanna make sure you're sitting down for this, but Apple are finally introducing call screening. Hallelujah. I know the Google Pixel had this years ago. So we will now have the ability to have AI screen our calls, which means that our phone will not even ring if a spam caller is detected. There's also something called live voicemail, where if you don't answer a call and the caller is leaving a voicemail, you can actually see live text being output on your screen. Super cool feature, something we should have had years ago, but thank you, Apple. Another what can only be described as game changer, because as soon as this feature becomes available, I want it on my phone, is the new Hold Assist. So if you guys have ever had the experience of being on the phone with a call center or some kind of customer service agent and they leave you on hold, some of the most annoying music in the world is the hold music. And not only that, it's the fact that you have to be attentive to your phone while being on hold. You can't just leave it and then come back to it. So Apple have addressed this in a couple of key ways. First of all, you will no longer need to stay on hold with your iPhone. It will ostensibly, on your iPhone, hang up the call while the agent goes about and does whatever they have to do while putting you on hold. And then when they want to take you off hold, an AI voice will let them know that you'll be returning to the phone right away, and then it will ring your phone to let you know that you're now coming off hold. Where has this been all my life? I need this. Now, they've also made some updates to the Messages app, and I guess they're trying to make it feel more social. At least that's what they say. They have taken the liberty to be inspired by some apps like WhatsApp, for example, and now you can set group chat wallpapers, or just wallpapers in any chat, to customize the look and feel of a conversation. There are a whole lot more social group chat features that I won't go into now, but needless to say, you can now run polls, you can use Apple Cash through group chats so you can split bills. There's a whole host of new social features, which is really cool to see on the Messages app. It's not just phone and messages though. Now Apple will have a whole new host of activities that can display across your devices. For example, if you have an event on your phone, like a ticket, it will display in the menu bar on your Mac OS if you want it to. Not only that, if you have to catch a flight, you can display the flight status on your Mac or on your lock screen, and you can also share that with your friends. FaceTime has also had an update where they've simplified the UI, and you can now scroll through and see video messages get auto-played as you scroll. though I have no idea why you would want that. Safari has also been updated to be full screen with the tab menu hiding away automatically and dynamically based on your content. And Apple kind of emphasized that that's their goal, is to make the UI more dynamic and responsive to the content on your screen. And only time will tell when I get to test this out and see how it actually works. Now, previously you could set either light or dark mode, but now that you have liquid glass, there's going to be more options available to you, which includes a clear theme, which when I first saw it, I'll be honest, I don't think it's the most visible thing in the world, but you guys can let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like the all clear glass theme? For me personally, I don't know if it's for me. I guess you can tint the color of the glass in the clear theme, but it still doesn't look that great to me. Another cool feature, and I guess this is a bit of a crossover of my two worlds, is Apple CarPlay is now getting an update. So you can display more information in a more clever way on the Apple CarPlay infotainment, and this also carries through to the Apple CarPlay Ultra that you can get on certain car models. Things like your flight status, other activities like I mentioned earlier that you can display across your devices can also carry through to Apple CarPlay. And not to mention that whatever theme you select on your phone will also carry through to Apple CarPlay, including that clear theme. So just keep that in mind. I probably would avoid that in the context of Apple CarPlay. Here's a pretty mind-blowing feature. Apple have been working super hard on their live translation abilities. So now in the phone app or even on FaceTime, if you're having a conversation with someone in a different language, it will actually provide both audio and visual live translation during the call. Now, I haven't had a chance to test this out personally, and I don't know how it will work in a real conversation where things kind of flow quite quickly, but I'm sure that Apple wouldn't release a feature that is not ready. But from the demonstration that they showed at the keynote, it actually looks quite good. They've made comprehensive updates to other areas of the software, including Apple Wallet, which now is smart enough to even go into your emails app or messages app and automatically collate all of your orders to have them in one place for convenience. Now, keep in mind, some of you might get triggered by this and go, oh, but there's a lack of privacy with all these AI features. And Apple have addressed this concern by saying that most of the AI features run locally on the device. So you're not even sending data to the cloud to get these features. And whatever data gets sent to the cloud is fully encrypted so that not even Apple themselves can access that data. So in terms of AI privacy, I think Apple are pretty much leading the game. They've updated the Games app, so if you're a mobile gamer, there's now more social ways to track high scores and play with friends. Though I can't help but feel there was a bit of a missed opportunity here to add health tracking where you can compare against friends. One of the best memories I have during COVID times with my old Samsung S22 was when Samsung Health, or S Health I think it was called at the time, allowed you to track your steps against your friends, and we were all competing to see who could walk the most around the 5-kilometer radius that we were allowed to walk in Melbourne. PTSD aside, that was actually a pretty good feature, and I'm surprised that given the social aspect of some of these updates, Apple haven't introduced that. Now, to address the elephant in the room when it comes to Apple Intelligence, yes, they might have dropped the ball on some of those features that they showed at WWDC last year. However, Apple made a pretty massive announcement that might have flown under the radar this year, and I haven't seen many people talking about this, but that is giving Apple developers access to their foundational models to develop their own apps. Guys, do you understand what this means? This means that people that develop apps for iPhone, macOS, you name it, can now have access to the underlying models of Apple Intelligence, and they can create the features that Apple might have demonstrated that they had created, but they actually hadn't, if that makes sense. So I think what we're gonna see as a result of this are just a whole wide range of Apple Intelligence apps, or apps that use Apple Intelligence, exploding out of the App Store from every which way. And if you guys aren't into AI, watch out, because there's gonna be a lot of AI stuff coming for Apple. Of course, there are a whole range of things that I haven't been able to cover in this video, like for example, the Auto Mix, which is a DJ that can automatically mix your songs, even beat matching on Apple Music. Apple might be wanting you to move over from Spotify to Apple Music, as well as a redesigned phone UI that can automatically make your lock screen wallpapers 3D. There's a whole range of stuff, and I could honestly spend hours talking about it all. But let me know what you guys think of what Apple have done this year. Is it enough, and does it kind of make up for some of the shortcomings of last year? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you guys are interested in all this tech content, we're gonna keep you up to date with the latest tech trends and products in the industry. Make sure you like the video and hit subscribe. We're not going anywhere. It's just starting, baby. Ciao for now.